Hello and welcome back to another 40k Teams Meta Report. This is the last week of May, and following next week we'll have a balanced data slate, so that'll be really exciting. So this week we had 4 team events. We're going to go through a list in each of them, go through the results, go through the team comps of the top teams, and see how everyone performed. So all the team events this week were 5-man, so we're going to start off with the 130 player Alpine Cup in Italy. With first place, Altrimenti C Arabimio. I don't speak Italian, so I cannot pronounce that correctly. So do apologise to any of their teammates watching this. Maybe you guys can correct me. But looking here, we have Cobra Team coming second. We have GG Garage Games coming third place, and we have Stat Wars coming fourth. And we have a draw between first place and second place, with the highest points deciding how it went. So 130 players, a lot of teams. I believe that's 30 teams in total. It did shape up to be quite a competitive cup. Looking at the winners team comp, we have some mainstays, I think, of team compositions in this metagame at the moment. We have Death Guard, who are performing exceptionally well. We have seen a mixture of Death Guard detachments appear in people's teams, but it does seem like the old Index detachment is the strongest. And we're actually starting to see a pattern in what characters are being selected as well, which I'll go over when we look at Andre's list. We have Gladius Ultramarines, also a very, very popular pick in these team comps. World Eaters Berserker Warband start to do very well in teams, one of the new codexes. So Death Guard, Empress Children here, and World Eaters being 2 top performers when it comes to team compositions. One of maybe the spicier picks of this team comp is Noble Lance, and I say spicy, there's no shade on Imperial Knights at the moment. They're doing very well. They're doing very well in singles, but we're not seeing them as much in teams. So Noble Lance performing really well, and of course we have Empress Children, but Peerless Bladesman being the choice here instead of Coterie. So we are starting to see a mix in detachments. So yeah, very strong team composition. Likely going to see Ultramarines take the Lightboard if they can as first defender, maybe the Noble Lance as first defender as well, depending on what they're going up against. We will see in Andre's results that he was a very, very solid winner, not taking high scores, but taking wins, so maybe taking harder matchups, being a blunter or defender. And then we had Peerless Bladesman likely being one of the main attackers, trying to get that matchup. That's generally what Emperor's Children want. They want a good matchup. If they fall onto a bad matchup, it could end up in a bad result. So yeah, really solid team comp. Let's take a look at Andre's list. Taking a look at this Death Guard list, you'll notice one thing about the record. It only placed 7th place, and this was the team's top performing player. So it just goes to show that you don't need to get all 20 nils to be a winning team. You can have a very consistent record, do a good job for your team, and get that victory in the end. So we're looking at the Index detachment here, or the old Index detachment, which has like sticky objectives. It has -1 damage shooting and fighting for 2 CP, which is really powerful. It has a really good slew of strats. Being able to sticky is also really strong, so your fast moving models like your blood drones and your haulers can push up, spread that contagion. You can sticky your home with something, and then you can push up once their deep strikes have gone. So we're starting to see kind of a consistent character roster for this type of build. The Team Scotland played in an event, which we'll be covering soon. They ran a very similar character loadout and a very similar list. So we're starting to see the Putrefy and the Foul Blightspawn, which will go in the one squad of Plague Marines. We'll have a Plague Caster who can only go on their own into the other squad of Plague Marines. Tallyman is most likely just going to be a screen, but then being able to generate CP and be able to stick your home objective, and then you can use Poxwalkers a bit more aggressively. Maybe have one squad holding one side of your screen, like your expansion, and you have an infiltrating Poxwalker there to be able to play the mission, do some move blocks, stuff like that. We see the very common Death Ride Terminators. We see 9 here, very, very powerful. 140 points for 3 of these guys is kind of nuts. I was talking to my friend about them the other day. Death Row Terminators, if you kind of go for stats, like raw stats to cost, the Laris Terminator, you get 2 of them for 130 points. They have 1 less attack, but they don't get all the great abilities of Death Guard. They do get Uppy Downy, but I think a 6-inch Street Strike is much more powerful. So for an extra 10 points, you get a whole extra Alaris Terminator, essentially, which is insane. These guys should not be 140 points. So taking 3 of them, take the Lord of Contagion as well, giving you that reliability. You get Sustained, you get Lance, but you also get a guy who gets back up on a 2-up with flat 3 wounds. Not even a D3, you just get 3 wounds. So it's a very annoying unit to shift. So 2 of them will go in 2 Death Round Terminators, and you'll probably have 1 on its own, being able to skirmish early so you don't have to throw away 250 points. Maybe a 140 point trading piece will do. And then finally we have things we're going to see a lot in Death Guards if we don't see any changes in the slate. Bloat drones at 100 points, insane. Even the 90 point variants are really good. Blight haulers at 90 points, amazing. Fit 3 OC, really tough. Good weapons, +1 hit, +1 to wound against vehicles. Same with the bloat drones as well. So we're starting to see kind of where Death Guard is landing. I think this is probably the strongest list we're seeing at the moment, but there's also room for innovation because the codex is so good. So I'll be interested to see what WTC brings. So we've got that coming up in the next couple of months, and what list people come up with. Our next event of the week was the Bugeater GT, Omaha, Nebraska. 100 players, so really strong turnout. 5-man teams as well, and we had a really stacked team win first place with Here Be Monsters. Jack Harpster returns, but this time doesn't bring Demonkin. So we'll take a look at one of the lists from that lineup, which did exceptionally well given the faction. Second place we had Team Beef. Third place with Roundtable Knights, and fourth place the Thunder Cat. So just a loss in it between second place and third place, and then Here Be Monsters with a 5-0 clean sweep taking the event. Looking at Here Be Monsters 5-up lineup, we had Chris Adams on Vectorium, the index attachment, which we just did a list about. So again, it's showing up in these top teams. One of the changes from Gladius Ultramarines is Gladius Dark Angels with Carl McCord. So nice to see some variant of Space Marines that isn't Ultramarines, because they've been pretty dominant this meta. Jack Tarpster returned to the old tried and true Berserker Warband, which is arguably the strongest attachment for World Eaters. He did represent Demonkin last time, and I did cover that list in my last video, so if you're interested in that list, be sure to check it out. Cody Giro taking Reaper's Wager and having an amazing score with Drakari, which are considered one of the weaker factions in the game at the moment, so we'll take a look at Cody's list next. And then Tucker Reiki taking Hosts of Ascension, doing really well there. Hosts of Ascension's become the new go-to for GSC. We did have the Muscle Beach Brood Surge being pretty popular. Final Day did pick up at the start of Grotmas with like Nick Nanavati running it, but has since died down, and Hosts of Ascension makes its return. So really cool composition here. We probably have Jack Harpster going for this big win to the melee pressure. Gladius Dark Angels being a solid defender, maybe with Chris Adams as well. And then Tucker and Cody, I would imagine, would be alternate attackers or blunters and flexers. So yeah, really strong team here, some spicy picks. Let's take a look at Cody's list. So Cody here taking Reaper's Wager instead of the Sky Splinter. This offers a really powerful suite of stratagems. You've got some damage enhancement, you've got some tricks. So allowing the Drakari to be a little bit more mobile without having to rely on transports, and also offering that damage output. So we have stuff like Malicious Frenzy, which gives you lethal hits of sustained 1, which is really strong on stuff like the Court of the Archon, which really punches hard, but also can be really powerful on an 11-man troop with swords. That's just like a bucket of attacks, 5 attacks each with an 11-man troop. So that can really push your dev wound output, because they all have dev wounds. You go for sustained and you try and get as many 6s as possible, which is really cool. They do have access to advance and charge, so making them really fast. Again, not having to rely on the transports like Sky Splinter. They have a turn off Overwatch, which is awesome. You know, Eldari love it with their battle focus token, so having access to that ability really opens up your hammer units, being able to go in, not be threatened by flamers and stuff, which we're starting to see more of because of stuff like Death Guard. And then finally you have the 6-inch reactive move. It's D6 if you're, I think it's D6, depending on if you're losing the wager or not. So if you're losing the wager, the Harlequin unit or the Drakari unit gets to move flat 6, otherwise it's D6. So not super reliable, but if you're clever, you can obviously move the wager around. It's only the troop that can do it, so probably not going to see that stratagem too much. It does cost CP, but you still have the output, you still have the advance and charge. And looking at the record here, second place, massive scores, 320 nils. We have 1 against Lions, 1 against Liberator, 1 against Invasion, 91 against Berserker, and 18-2 against Warhost. So really going well into those melee matchups. We have 3 melee matchups there where Cody was able to get big wins. And then Warhost is probably a bit more flexible, same with Invasion Fleet. So yeah, a really fast, really punchy Drakari list. 7 Beastmaster packs, so 7 times. So 3 Beastmaster pack with 7 models. That's just jail right there. They scout. You can jail with 1 of them or jail with 2 of them. Stage and then have those big pushes with the Court of Archon. The Court of Archon does have Webway Walker, so it is allowed to deep strike. So that might have been more of a rapid ingress threat. And the Shadowseer does have Shadowseer can probably push up with the 11 troop, having that low knot, being a little bit safe. So actually there's some interesting plays here, I think. Maybe given the Beastmaster pack, sustained or lethal offers a lot more output. And you've obviously got the wager, using the troop to bounce the wager back and forth. It's quite a well-rounded list, really. And yeah, it probably picked its fights really well and was able to get these massive wins. So congratulations to Cody. I'm not a Drakari player, I've just played against it a few times. So I'm no expert. But yeah, looks like Cody did a great job. Moving to the United Kingdom, we had 2 5-man team events here. We had one in Manchester and Cardiff. The Manchester had 103 players, which is a bit of a weird number. Probably maybe some drops and some players replaced others. So it's likely more going to be 100 players. First place, we had the Dead Warlord Sorcerers. Second place we had Army Reactor, third place we had Team Stonehammer, and fourth place we had the Manchester Mercs. Stonehammer and Army Reactor I've seen a lot on UKTC results. Dead Warlord Sorcerers don't jump out to me, so maybe I've just missed them, but well done to them. They had a clean sweep with a 5-0, and then second and third place decided by points, as they both had a loss, so it would be the total points that probably decided where they placed. And here we have the team composition for the Dead Warlord Sorcerers. We have Billy Guest on Warhorde. I think Orcs are great. I think they have a lot of variety in how they can play at the moment. You can have Tactical. I think Dreadmob's also really good. We've got a player in our local scene who's been performing with that. So Orcs, really solid choice. Ultramarine Gladius, we've talked about them before. Basically the go-to Marine chapter and detachment. When it comes to playing Marines, really good in teams as well. They can act as a really good first defender on the light board if you take the more shooty variants with all the ballistas and stuff, so really solid. Joshua on Chaos Cults, spicy pick. We'll talk about Chaos Cults more in the next event because Chaos Cults appeared in 2 of the top teams this week, and I've played a lot of Chaos Cults myself, so I can actually give you some input on how that works. Peerless Bladesman makes its appearance again with Matthew McCurdy. So again, Peerless Bladesman being a choice here. You can do Coterie or Bladesman. Both seem to be performing pretty well at the moment, which is great for Emperor's Children. It gives them 2 different ways to play. And finally, Tony Barrett on Montcar Tau. That's probably the spiciest pick of this week. Chaos Cult's been up there as well, but Tau have been underperforming. There's rumours that they're going to get a big overhaul of their spotter mechanic in the next slate. So to see them do well is awesome. So well done to Tony. We're going to take a look at his list, and I'm not going to pretend like I know what Tau does. So we're going to go over it the best I can, and I'll let you guys make your mind up. Alright, as your resident Tau expert, I have no clue what any of this does. Montcar, I believe, is the one that gets better later, so you're trying to hold out to the late game where you get all your buffs. Was that Cao Yang? No, that might be Cao Yang. I'm going to have a quick look and see if I can find out exactly which one is which. So Carrion is the third barrel, so this is the faster one, which might explain some of the scores here. So we got some really impressive scores, and with Tony taking 4th place in terms of player output. Took 2 strong games against Mortorian's Hammer, one of the best factions in the game here, Death Guard, so doing well against them. Again, a 20-0 versus Lions, so maybe a first defender with triple hammerhead and the 4 broadsides. So get a lot of shots down range. That's my guess. I have no clue, like I told you. Do well against Black Spear Task Force, another shooty list, and then Renegade Raiders, which can be a kind of a combined arms. So yeah, doing really well. Hammerhead gunships, obviously the big standouts. Triple railgun, offering that anti-tank. Broadsides as well. Again, long range shooting. And then we have kind of like a big mix of, I guess, just like scoring and denial. So we got 30 Pathfinders, we got the stealth suits, Kroot Hounds, Raiders, Krootox Riders, and a variety of characters. And obviously the Breacher Fish, that's one thing I do know about. So yeah, it looks like it's got some good screening, move blocking, points denial, and then it has a few pieces that can sit at the back and push damage through at range. And that is my expert analysis of Tau. I don't play them, but well done to Tony. It's great to see you taking Tau, doing really, really well at a big team event just before they get the change. So hopefully you'll have some fun changes coming for you in the slate. And last but not least, in my local venue, which is Firestorm in Cardiff, we had a 30-man player event, War of the Roses, 5-man teams, and we did have some heavy hitters go here. We have Mind Goblins, arguably the best team in the UK at the moment. They've had some amazing results in UKTC, so being able to perform at a 30-player event, that's great, but they perform at like 300 plus player events. So Mind Goblins taking 1st place, just behind Team Scotland, the WTC national team. I'm not sure how many of them in the Team Scotland in this event are actually picked for the WTC team, but it's a great opportunity to come down to Wales and practice. So hopefully they got some good reps in and some good data for the matrices going into WTC. Flying Mongooses, one of our local teams, performing really well, taking 3rd place, which is awesome. It's really great to see them. And Sam Goodbrand, who is on that team, getting a 3rd place trophy. He's in our team league, one of our local players. Well done. Big thumbs up. And then Ministry of Diascoon squad, taking 4th place. Really tough run of results there, but well done for getting 4th, especially Yayan on Necrons, one of our players who comes down and competes in our event. So well done. Fantastic. So looking at Mind Goblin's composition here, we do have Alex Fowler on Lines of the Emperor. So Alex is known as a 1000 player, so probably waiting for the Codex, and also on the Team England WTC team, I believe. So well done to Alex there. Jack Davis Fletch on Combined Arms Guard. This was quite a different list actually. It had a lot of Catachans. It had a lot of Lehman Russes rather than opting for like the triple Rogel Dawn commanders. So, nice different list there coming from Jack. So really well done. Jamie Chapman on Chaos Cult. We'll go into his list after this. Like I said, I've played a lot of Chaos Cult. I can talk a bit about them. Louis Bullington on Black Spear Task Force. So we have a couple of Deathwatch players in our local community. We haven't seen them do much. I think Gladius has really outshined them over the course of this meta game, but I do think that Task Force does have some legs, and Louis took them to this event, did really well. And then Luke Harris finally on Awakened Dynasty. This seems to be becoming one of the main picks for Necrons. You either take Star Shatter and lean heavily into like the DDAs and stuff, or you go for Awakened Dynasty, go for like loads of characters. I know Psychomancers have become really popular doing those Battle Shock shenanigans, and then you take like a combined arms of Awakened Dynasty stuff, so you take like Scorpex, maybe a couple of DDAs and stuff, a Necron Warrior brick which you want to resurrect. So it's really built around that. So you got that big brick of warriors, and you build like a combined arms force around it. So yeah, well done guys, taking a win once again in a UK teams tournament. No surprise there. And the final list of the video, we have Chaos Cults from Jamie Chapman. Like I said, I've played a lot of Chaos Cults, so I know a bit about them. So the big thing to know about cults is It's built around a Cursed Cultist, no surprise. The two main enhancements are a Scout move, so it makes them really fast. It lets you jail early, especially if you go first. And then the Incendiary Goad, which is if you're below starting, you get +1 strength. If you get below half, you're +1 strength and +1 attack. So your big hitters are the mutants. They have d6 +2 attacks. So once that unit gets chipped down, they get d6 +3 attacks, which is really powerful. You can also use a strat on them to get them an additional attack as well if you make a Dart Pact. So you can really amp up kind of a small AC/DC unit once it's been chipped away. It's really important to note as well that this is a very fast list. So the army rule is you get to do something called Desperate Pact in your movement phase and your charge phase, which adds either +2 to your move or +2 to your charge. And the AC/DCs with the Dark Commune get advanced in charge with +1 to hit, +1 to wound once per game. And then there's a 1 CP strat to get reroll hits. And if you pass your Desperate Pact, you get reroll wounds on top. So +1 to hit, +1 to wound, movement 8, advance in charge with +2 to their charge, reroll in hits, reroll in wounds with sustained. That unit hits like a truck. Its biggest weakness is it's only AP 1. So some Chaos Cults lists have taken the Sorcerer, Terminator Sorcerer, to give +1 AP. So Armor of Contempt 2-up saves can be a bit annoying. You're really relying on weight of attacks, but it's not reliable. So if you're a Chaos Cults player, you're probably going to be protected from those 2-up save armies, and you're going to be going more for, so you're going to be kind of targeting stuff that you can jail, targeting stuff that your profile of your strength 5 AP 1/2 damage does really well into. And yeah, you can see here that Jamie Chapman took 2nd place, beating Warhorde, those squishy orc t-shirts after the war, a Shadow Legion, mostly relying on invulnerables. Star Shatter can be a little tough with the king, but you've got so much stuff it's hard to chew through. Oathband, unless it's got loads of land forts and terminators, 2-up saves are not going to be a problem. And then Hammer, so unless it's running the Rogal Dawns, which it probably likely will be, you can kind of avoid all that, and you can just start wrapping stuff and jailing with the AC/DCs. So yeah, really well done to Jamie. So the biggest changes we have from the lists between the Chaos Cults from before, which was in the Bugeater, I believe, or the Manchester, I can't remember. And then they have running 2 Vindicators here and a Predator and Warp Talons. So that was a consistent thing across the 2 lists. They both run 2 sets. They both run the 5 Warp Talons, and the other list ran Triple Predator. So taking some shooting, that's one of the things I found with Cults when I played it. You really wanted some shooting profiles. I used to run 3 Brigands because they were quite self-sufficient. They hit on 2s, they have high OCs, you can steal objectives with them. But I can see Vindicators or Predators being options as well. One of the other big things with Chaos Cults, and one of the decision points, is how much Traitor Guardsman do you take. So Derek, who's kind of the innovator of Chaos Cults over the last year or so, he would just go like 60 Traitor Guardsmen and go for a lot of denial. The 2 lists in this week's events, they went more for like the smaller accounts of Traitor Guardsmen, so they can bring in stuff like Vindicators and Predators. So yeah, a bit of a rant there about Chaos Cults, so I've played them a lot, so I feel like I can offer some insight into them. But yeah, well done to Jamie. It's great to see Cults doing. I have since retired them. It's quite an exhausting army to play, especially across 5 games. Maybe this one less so, because I was taking the 60 Traitor Guardsmen and 40 Cultists. That's very tiring to play. But yeah, well done to Jamie. Well done to Mind Goblins for taking the win. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you to everyone who's dropped a like, everyone who's commented, and everyone who's subscribed so far. I really appreciate it. It gives me the motivation to continue making these videos. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you all in next week's video.